Hi guys, this video is on dividing decimals by whole numbers. It is a supplemental video, so basically it's just additional practice. So if you've not watched the original dividing decimals by whole numbers, it has pink writing on the original screen or on the front screen, you need to stop this video and then go back and find the correct one. If you have watched that video and you want additional practice as a supplement, which means as an extra, then you can go ahead and watch this video, but we will be working problems out together, which means you are going to need your composition notebook, a sharpened pencil, and it is going to be a lot of you trying to practice these problems as well. Because if you just watch me do them over and over and over again, you're not really going to get a whole lot out of that. Just like the examples I've used in class, I can go up to the football coach and say, hey, I've watched all your football games and I can catch a ball. Let me be your star running back or your wide receiver. They're going to look at me like I am nuts. So you have to get in there and practice, because you're just not going to get any better if you don't. All right, so let's go ahead and give this a try. So in your composition notebook, open up to your next available page, and I would like for us to first define terminating decimals. Those are decimals that end. You are writing this part down. So the first example that we have here is 18 and 6 tenths, divided by 3. Now notice when I read that number, I read the number that was under the box first. 18 and 6 tenths divided by 3. So if you need to, on the side of your paper, write your Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers raw? Go ahead and do that now. And we're going to go ahead and start dividing. So I'm going to start with saying to myself, how many times does 3 go into 1? It goes into it 0 times. So I'm just going to put that 0 there just to sort of hold my place. So now I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 3 go into 18? It goes into 18 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. I'm going to subtract, I get 0. All right, so I check it. There's nothing left to do with this, so I'm going to bring down the next available number, which is the 6. And now I'm going to repeat and go straight back up to my divide. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract, and I end up getting 0. Now don't forget to place your decimal. So you see the decimal in my dividend is between the 8 and the 6, so I'm going to slide it straight up. So therefore my answer is going to be 6 and 2 tenths. Now whole numbers are not written with zeros in front of them. So even though I did that over in my problem to hold the place value, when you go to rewrite your answers, don't put a 0 in front of the 6. So now this is an example of a terminating decimal. Now I'm going to give you guys 2 more examples, and I'm going to write them out on this, and I want you to try each of them out on your own, and then pause your video, and then when you're ready, push play again, and then you can check your work. All right, so here you can see the 2 examples that I've written on the paper. So go ahead and jot them down, and I want you to try to solve them using the proper division steps. So go ahead and push pause now, and then when you're done, push play and check your work. All right, so checking our first problem, 46 and 8 tenths. So I'm going to start by asking myself, how many times does 6 go into 4? That's 0 times. So remember, I'm just putting that there as a placeholder. So now I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 6 go into 46? It goes into it 7 times. 7 times 6 is 42. I subtract. I'm going to get a 4, and I'm going to bring down my 8. 6 goes into 48. 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. So you'll notice here that this is an example of a terminating decimal again. So we're going to slide our decimal up into our answer. And so remember, our final answer is 7 and 8 tenths. We don't want to write that 0 in front of that whole number 7. Let's look at the last example on this page. So we're going to ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 7? It goes into it 1 time. 1 times 4 gives me 4. I'm going to subtract, I get a 3. 4 does not fit into 3, so therefore I'm going to bring down my 6. 4 goes into 36 9 times. 9 times 6 is 36. Subtract, I get 0. And I'm going to slide my decimal up into my quotient, and my answer is 1 and 9 tenths. Now these 3 examples on this page are all examples of where we did not have to annex any zeros or do any of that type of business. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and try another example. Now on this one, our decimal will terminate, or our answer will terminate. However, we're going to have to add a 0 or annex a 0. You'll notice that my screen looks a little funny. I went ahead and turned my paper sideways so I could line up my numbers so I have one number in each column. A column is what goes up and down. So it might help for some of you if you're kind of, sort of writing sort of sloppy-ish and your division is going all sideways all over your paper, because the vertical lines, which are the lines that are going up and down, might help you kind of line up your numbers. Okay, so let's go ahead and start dividing this guy out. So the first thing I'm going to do is ask myself, how many times does 8 go into 5? It does not. So therefore, I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 8 go into 53? It goes into 53 exactly 6 times. 6 times 8 gives me 48. I'm going to subtract. 53 minus 48 gives me a 5. I'm going to check it. 8 does not go into 5. So now I'm going to bring down my 9. 8 goes into 59 7 times. 7 times 8 is 56. I'm going to subtract. 59 minus 56 gives me a 3. I'm going to check it. 8 does not fit into 3. So now I'm going to bring down my 6. 8 goes into 36 4 times. 4 times 8 is 32. I'm going to subtract. 36 minus 42 is 4. All right, so this is the spot where you're going to see where I have no other numbers over here. So what I have to do is I need to annex a 0. That means add a 0. So notice I did that in my next column, and I'm going to bring that 0 straight down. So now I'm going to ask myself, 8 goes into 40 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. Subtract, I get 0. Oops. And therefore, don't forget to place your decimal point directly above in your answer line. So we get a final answer of 67 and 45 hundredths. So in this example here, I wanted to show you one again where you would have to sometimes annex a 0 in order to get your decimal to end. Okay, so that's the end of this lesson. It was just a short little supplementary kind of like reminder of what to do. Kept the numbers pretty easy and pretty basic. So we will be doing additional practice, especially for those of you that do need some more practice on these concepts. All right, you guys, that's it for now, and we'll see you back in class.